Vancouver, one of the world's most livable cities. With its stunning mountain views, lush green spaces, and vibrant waterfronts, it's a paradise for many. But beneath the surface, the city also grapples with growing urban challenges. Today, we take a deeper look at the city's hidden struggles with content creator and urban planning commentator Yute Lee. Lee is an urban storyteller. With a background in planning and a passion for journalism, music, and film, he creates compelling videos that unpack the complex issues shaping our cities. His YouTube channel, followed by over 200,000 viewers, brings urban planning to life. He also created the CBC series, Stories About Here.
So I would say it really started in university. I went to school for urban planning, so I was learning a lot about, urban planning policy, stuff like, where housing should be built in a city, what should happen with the bus routes throughout a city. And the thing about that, I was learning all this stuff and thinking, everyone should know about these changes because they're impacting everyone's daily lives, right? The decisions that happen by urban planners at City Hall are things that intimately connect with people's sort of everyday experience of their cities. And I also found that there was just so little coverage of it, right? Something that's so important to your daily life, right? Where housing goes, where transit is going, all of this stuff that makes a city, and the decisions surrounding it. And yet there was very little sort of really accessible public information about this stuff.
As an immigrant, he views the city through a more objective lens. Let's hear about how he reflects on his own identity.
My family moved to Canada when I was just 2 years old. And because of that, there was always a little part of me growing up that felt like I wasn't quite Korean enough to be really Korean, while definitely not being white enough to be white. But with time, I've come to believe that I can express my Korean identity kind of however I want to. It's not about how much kimchi you
And
eat or
video
how
storytelling
well you
is
speak the
one
language.
way he expresses his identity.
I think it's kind of incredible how well Vancouver, of all the cities in North America, I think, has made itself such a a welcoming place for a diversity of people. The fact that it is I think if you were to ask anyone immigrating from India, Korea, Japan, China, where you would want to go in Canada if you want, or in North America if you wanted to make a new life somewhere, I think it would be Toronto or Vancouver. I just can't imagine any other city being able to fit that criteria. I think Vancouver is incredibly unique and special in that it's made itself a place where people like that feel welcome and feel like they have communities that they can tap into. And I think it's underappreciated because we're all so sort of stuck on the the city of glass and the the aesthetic stuff. I think that really isn't its biggest value potential as a city. The city is so successful because there are so many different groups that can identify with this region. There's so many immigrant ethnic groups that can consider this region as a valid landing pad. And I think it reflects itself on the food scene, on the art scene. All of these wonderful things happen because Vancouver is an international city. I think there's sort of a real tension at the heart of Vancouver's identity, which is one that is, on one hand, I think we all know the Vancouver that is very aesthetically pleasing. It's this sort of glistening, glassy, urbanist utopia amongst nature. And there's a real romantic, alluring sort of aesthetic to that proposition. And yet at the same time, we know that that is a very expensive, unaffordable part of our city. To live in that sort of setting, it takes money and it takes a lot of resources to make that work. And so on the flip side of Vancouver, we have an incredibly severe homelessness issue and incredible poverty, especially in the downtown east side, but also just more broadly throughout the city. And I think reconciling that has always been, well, maybe not always, but like at least in recent history has been such a struggle, you know? Can we both be a city that is beautiful and has all of this, you know, kind of natural and built beauty to it, while also, you know, taking care of our homeless, right? And taking care of the needy, right? Like, I feel like that's, you know, when I'm a cynic, I feel like they go hand in hand. I made a video about the lack of public bathrooms in North America and all of the consequences that come out as a result of that. And one of the biggest consequences is, of course, how it affects the homeless, you know, community in a city, right? We have a housing crisis. It means there are a lot of people who have no other choice than to find shelter on the streets. And when there are no public bathrooms available, like, yeah, like you have no other choice than to also, you know, go use the streets as the bathroom. And I think there are just so many, I think to me that's like so viscerally pressing, right? Like, you know, you can't walk through the downtown east side without having exposure to, you know, human excrement because of this problem. And I think if there was something we could do kind of in the very short term, like I think you could see very immediate results out of just trying to provide quality public bathrooms for the downtown east side. Of course, that's one of so many issues that we have as a city, but like if there's something that you could see immediate payoffs, I think that might be one of them. I like to say that I have a borderline like mental breakdown anytime I cover a housing story in a more joking way, because like it's just so complicated, right? You know, I think a challenge with any housing story is to talk about a specific part, an angle about housing without needing to answer the entire question of why we're in the housing crisis. When I get asked, like, you know, how do I come up with a story? I think you have to immerse yourself in groups and settings where stories can come to you. So I maintain a lot of friendships with people who work in urban planning, who comment on it. I make sure to read up on the news, read up on various reports and sort of studies that talk about, you know, how we can design our cities better. And, you know, in doing that, every now and then a story comes to me that I think is worth pursuing.
By telling Vancouver's story, Li is also sharing his own. Sometimes it's about the beauty, sometimes it's about the struggles behind it. As the city grows, so do the people who call it home.
Okay, I gotta get out of here.